The Amish have managed to thrive without depending on government-provided water systems for decades. No water bills, no overcomplicated plumbing, just good old-fashioned ingenuity and a deep respect for nature. Let me tell you, they get water in ways that would have the rest of us scratching our heads and probably breaking a few nails trying to figure it out. It's almost as if they have figured out the ultimate life hack, and all while the rest of us are stuck complaining about our water bills. So next time you're filling up your glass, maybe take a moment to appreciate the ease of your modern-day luxuries, but also think about the lessons the Amish have to offer. Who knows? Perhaps the secret to a simpler, more fulfilling life lies in learning to adapt and appreciate the resources we have around us, just like they do. When it comes to getting water, the Amish don't just wait around for a utility company to show up. They go straight to the source, deep underground. Wells are one of their main methods of water collection, and it's not as simple as dropping a bucket into a hole like in the old cartoons. Amish wells go deep, sometimes hundreds of feet into the ground, depending on where they're located. It's hard work, but they've got it down to an art. The first time I saw an Amish family digging a well, I couldn't help but think they were working harder than most of us do at the gym. You won't see any big machines or electric drills out there, though. They often rely on manpower or use horse-drawn equipment, staying true to their roots and their off-grid lifestyle. The process itself can take days or even weeks, depending on how deep they need to dig. It's not always straightforward either. I've heard stories of people digging a well and, instead of striking water, unearthing all sorts of unexpected treasures. Old tools, pieces of history, and yes, even the occasional rusty boot. Imagine that. Hours of digging only to find something you'd rather toss than treasure. But when they do hit water, it's like finding gold, only a lot more useful. The water gets pumped up using hand pumps or, if they're feeling fancy, a wind-powered pump. No electricity needed, just good old-fashioned elbow grease. You've got to respect the dedication. Maintaining these wells is another story. Without modern systems, things can go wrong pretty quickly if they're not careful, but Amish folks are resourceful, and they've got a knack for fixing things up. If something breaks, they'll often repair it using whatever's lying around. I once heard about a guy who fixed his well's pump with parts from a bicycle. It worked too. That's the kind of ingenuity that most of us can only dream of. Forget calling a plumber. They'll have things up and running before you can even grab the phone. After all this hard work, they've earned the right to a drink, but even that's not as easy as turning on a tap. Every drop that comes up from the well is a result of physical labor and commitment, and that makes it taste just a little bit sweeter. When it comes to rain, most of us either hide inside or reach for an umbrella, but the Amish, they see it as an opportunity to stock up on water. Forget complicated systems and expensive installations. The Amish have been collecting rainwater in a way that's about as low-tech as it gets, and it works perfectly fine. A few barrels, some well-placed gutters, and voila, you've got yourself a water supply straight from the sky. You wouldn't think much of it, but a typical 1,000-square-foot roof can gather around 600 gallons of water with just an inch of rain. That's not just some backyard trivia either. It's enough to keep a family hydrated, water the garden, or even splash around a few cows if they're feeling frisky. Of course, it's not just about drinking. Rainwater comes in handy for other things too. Cooking, cleaning, keeping animals hydrated. I once knew an Amish family who joked that their chickens wouldn't lay an egg unless they got a nice splash of rainwater in the morning. I'm not sure how much truth there was to that, but it's amazing how they use what most people take for granted in ways that make life easier without needing the grid at all. And here's the thing. It's not just about the water. When you see the Amish collecting rain, it's like a community event. Families help each other set up their barrels and cisterns, making sure everything's in place before the next downpour. It's almost like they're prepping for a big backyard barbecue, but instead of grilling, they're catching water from the heavens. You can see them checking their setups like proud engineers. It's all part of living in tune with the land and working together, which is something most of us don't experience anymore. Rainwater harvesting may seem like a simple solution, but it's one of those things where simplicity just works. While the rest of us run to the store for bottled water whenever there's a boil order, the Amish are happily sipping on the free stuff. Clean, fresh, and straight from the sky. You could say they're saving more than water. They're preserving a way of life that relies on what nature provides, not on what we've come to expect from modern systems. And that's a kind of wealth money just can't buy. Now, collecting water from the sky is all well and good, but let's be real. Even the cleanest looking rain can have a bit more flavor than you'd like. whether it's some dust, dirt, or who knows what else it picked up on the way down. That's where the Amish water purification methods come in. They've got it all figured out when it comes to making sure what they drink is not just fresh, but actually clean. Let's start with sand filters, which are about as straightforward as it sounds. Water flows through layers of sand, and just like that, all the gunk gets caught. It's a bit like nature's coffee filter, except no one's drinking this batch without a little more cleaning. After sand, charcoal steps in to do the heavy lifting. Charcoal is like that one friend who's always there to pick up after everyone else. It absorbs all kinds of stuff from the water, including any weird tastes or smells. If you've ever taken a sip of water and wondered why it tasted like the inside of a garden hose, you'll appreciate what charcoal does. And it doesn't stop there. The Amish sometimes use UV light to purify their water. That's right, UV rays. While most of us think of UV as the thing that makes us slather on sunscreen, the Amish use it in their water purification process. It zaps any pesky bacteria or viruses that might have made their way in. It's not exactly a sun bath for the water, but it's just enough to make sure it's safe to drink. I can't help but laugh thinking about how modern city dwellers need apps to track their water filters, while the Amish handle it all with what they've got on hand and some good old-fashioned sunlight. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicole Apelian on their store. If you're watching this on TV, you can look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet and find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any other video description. Speaking of simple and effective, they also boil water when needed. When all else fails, throw it on the stove and any remaining germs meet their fate. I'm reminded of a time I tried to boil water while camping. Let's just say my fire building skills weren't quite up to Amish standards. The water was lukewarm at best. But these folks, they're pros. They keep it clean, simple, and surprisingly efficient. It's not a flashy system, but you know what? It works. No fancy gadgets, no monthly filter replacements, just layers of sand, a bit of charcoal, and a little UV magic. The Amish have been doing this for generations, long before the idea of clean water solutions became a billion-dollar industry. It's refreshing, literally and figuratively, to see that simplicity can still get the job done. And while the rest of us might spend a small fortune on bottled water, filters, and apps to track our water intake, the Amish sit back, sip their purified rainwater, and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Now let's talk about one of nature's best-kept secrets, natural springs. While most of us might associate a spring with a mattress or the season when allergies attack, for the Amish, a spring is a prime source of drinkable water. These natural water sources have been flowing for centuries, providing crisp, mineral-rich water straight from the earth. No pipes, no government, just pure, refreshing H2O that makes your fancy bottled water look like it's trying too hard. What's so great about spring water? For one, it's naturally filtered. As water flows through the ground, it's purified by layers of soil and rock, which trap impurities and leave behind water that's clean and packed with minerals. It's like getting a free upgrade to mineral water without the extra charge at the grocery store. And trust me, when you taste water that's been chilled underground for who knows how long, you'll swear you've discovered the elixir of life. In some Amish communities, these springs are a crucial part of daily life. You'd think collecting water from a spring would be complicated, but nope, they've got it down to a simple science. They either tap into the spring directly with pipes or collect it in stone basins where it gathers naturally. I imagine there's something pretty magical about walking over to a spring, filling up a jug, and knowing you've just snagged the cleanest, freshest water in town. But it's not just about the clean water, it's also about the minerals. Spring water often contains calcium, magnesium, and other good stuff that's naturally picked up as the water flows through rock. And while the rest of us are busy spending money on supplements, the Amish are getting their minerals the old-fashioned way, by drinking them. It's probably why you'll never catch an Amish person with one of those electrolyte-boosting drinks in hand. They've got the real deal right in their backyard. I remember hearing about a kid who once thought the family spring was some kind of magical fountain. He had all these wild ideas about how it worked, probably thanks to a few too many fairy tales. One day, he followed the spring back up the hill, fully expecting to find a secret door with a wizard behind it. Turns out he just found a bunch of rocks, a few tree roots, and a very disappointed look on his face. But hey, there's something about spring water that makes you feel like it's more than just water. Spring water's low tech, but high quality benefits fit right into the Amish way of life. It's another way they use what nature gives them without needing anything fancy to keep things running smoothly. For them, tapping into a spring isn't just about drinking water, it's about staying connected to the land. There's no over-engineering here, just a humble reliance on nature and a healthy respect for what it provides. Many Amish communities utilize community ponds or lakes as a vital source of drinking water. These ponds are often strategically located within their farms or neighborhoods, designed to collect rainwater and surface runoff from nearby fields and landscapes. This practice not only makes the most of natural precipitation, but also helps manage excess water that might otherwise cause flooding or erosion. The construction of a community pond typically involves digging a sizable hole and allowing it to fill with water over time. Amish farmers often use simple tools such as shovels and horses to excavate the area, keeping the process environmentally friendly and low-tech. Once established, these ponds can hold significant amounts of water, which is especially useful during dry spells when other water sources might run low. These ponds serve multiple purposes. For one, they provide a reliable supply of fresh water for drinking, cooking, and washing. Amish families know that with proper management, the water can remain clean and safe to use. They often monitor the water quality, using natural methods of purification like allowing sunlight to aid in killing off harmful bacteria. This way, the community benefits from a consistent and wholesome water source without relying on modern filtration systems. Additionally, community ponds are an asset for agriculture. Farmers can use the water for irrigating crops and watering livestock, making it an integral part of their farming practices. The ponds often attract wildlife, contributing to the local ecosystem. They might see ducks paddling about, frogs hopping near the shore, and even fish swimming, all of which add to the charm and functionality of the space. There's something quite delightful about a pond filled with happy ducks and the laughter of children playing nearby. Speaking of kids, it's not uncommon to hear a few playful remarks when the neighbors' kids come running, giggling about their latest discovery of goldfish in the pond. Of course, those goldfish are often just common minnows, but in the eyes of a child, they're pure treasure. As with other aspects of Amish life, the pond system thrives on community involvement. Neighbors often come together to maintain and clean these ponds, reinforcing the strong bonds within the community. You might find families gathering for a pond cleaning day where they work side by side, sharing stories and laughter as they scoop out debris and weeds. It's not just about the water, it's about the camaraderie and support that flow freely among them. In a world where access to clean water can often be a concern, especially in areas where municipal services are lacking, these community ponds stand as a testament to the Amish way of life. They remind us of the importance of sustainable practices and how people can work together to harness nature's resources without needing to rely on complex systems or government oversight. In essence, the ponds symbolize the beauty of self-sufficiency, reminding us that sometimes the simplest solutions can provide the most significant benefits. And let's be honest, who wouldn't enjoy a serene afternoon by the water, perhaps while daydreaming about the next big catch or the adventures of neighborhood kids? You might be wondering how the Amish, with their steadfast commitment to tradition, handle the inevitable march of technology. I mean, we're talking about people who still use horse-drawn buggies when the rest of us are complaining that our electric cars need a software update. But here's where it gets interesting. The Amish aren't as stuck in the past as people think. When it comes to getting drinkable water, they've found clever ways to adapt modern innovations to their needs while staying true to their values. It's like watching someone bake a cake with a microwave and a wood-burning stove. It shouldn't work, but it somehow does. Take solar-powered pumps, for example. Now, if you thought the Amish were out in the fields cranking up water from a well like an old-timey cartoon, think again. Sure, they have hand pumps for emergencies or nostalgia. Who doesn't love a good workout? But many communities are getting with the times. Solar-powered pumps are becoming more common, allowing them to draw water from wells without relying on the electricity grid. It's a brilliant twist because they're using one of nature's oldest resources, sunlight, to solve a modern problem. And no, it's not cheating. If the sun's giving out free energy, why not put it to good use? You could argue the sun's been Amish all along, silent, consistent, and absolutely not on Instagram. But solar pumps aren't the only innovation sneaking into Amish water systems. Gravity-fed systems are another prime example of smart, efficient use of natural forces. Some Amish communities have their homes on hillsides or near water sources at higher elevations. They use gravity, which last I checked is still free and available to everyone, to let water flow down to their homes. No pumps required. It's like setting up a natural water slide for your daily needs, just without the pool party at the end. Not that you'd ever see an Amish pool party, but hey, a person can dream. And here's the kicker. While they embrace these technologies, they do so with careful consideration. Solar-powered pumps and gravity-fed systems are perfect examples of how the Amish blend their core values: simplicity, humility, and a respect for nature with practical solutions. They're not putting up neon-lit solar panels or installing Wi-Fi in their barns. Everything is done with an eye toward maintaining their way of life. It's all about balance, like walking a tightrope between the past and the future and somehow making it look easy. I've always found this adaptability fascinating. I mean, here we are, plugged into the latest gadgets and apps, and we still can't figure out how to make a morning cup of coffee without an electric grinder and Wi-Fi-enabled kettle. Meanwhile, the Amish are out there keeping it low-tech but effective, proving you don't need the latest smart device to get the basics done. In fact, they could probably teach us a thing or two about not overcomplicating things. Less tech, more common sense. That's a lesson worth learning. And before you think the Amish are completely immune to modern temptations, let me tell you, there's a healthy debate in some communities about where to draw the line. Not all Amish are the same. Different groups have different rules about what technology they can use, which leads to some interesting compromises. One family might be okay with solar power, while their neighbors are still sticking to the old ways. It's like a friendly competition to see who can be the most traditional while still getting stuff done. Except instead of bragging about who has the fastest car or newest gadget, it's about who can run a household with the least tech. Imagine that on a bumper sticker. My other ride is a solar-powered pump. This balance of tradition and innovation isn't limited to water, of course. It's part of the broader Amish approach to life. They're open to change, but only on their own terms. They adapt when they need to, not because it's trendy or convenient. In a world where we're constantly upgrading and replacing things, there's something refreshing about that kind of restraint. So while we're out here scrolling through endless product reviews for the best water filtration system or the latest smart faucet, the Amish are quietly sticking to what works, a mix of time-honored methods and a few clever updates. And honestly, it seems to be working out pretty well for them. In the quest for clean drinking water, the Amish community often employs aquifer recharge systems to ensure their groundwater levels stay healthy. You see, they've mastered the art of directing runoff water back into the earth, giving Mother Nature a helping hand in replenishing aquifers. Imagine a big happy sponge soaking up the rain. That's basically what the Amish are doing, collecting excess water and sending it underground where it can work its magic. This technique not only makes sure that there's always enough water when the dry spells hit, but also helps prevent the groundwater from running dry. It's like a natural savings account for water, and the Amish have figured out how to make those deposits count. What's truly fascinating is how simple yet effective this method is. They set up channels that guide the water from their fields, driveways, and roofs straight into the ground. It's a bit like giving a thirsty plant a drink of water, but on a much grander scale. In fact, studies have shown that utilizing such systems can significantly boost groundwater supplies, which is essential for keeping crops healthy and families hydrated. Now, if only my house could magically redirect all that water from my overflowing gutters to a nice, refreshing glass. As you can see, these aquifer recharge systems represent another layer of the Amish approach to water management, showcasing their commitment to sustainability and community. By looking after the land and utilizing what they have, the Amish not only support their way of life, but also set a wonderful example for everyone about the importance of nurturing our natural resources. It's a reminder that sometimes, to get the most out of what we have, we need to think a little outside the box. Or should I say, outside the garden row. When you think of the Amish, you might picture them as a bunch of quiet folks working diligently on their farms, but here's the kicker. They're all about community. In fact, their entire approach to getting drinkable water is steeped in collaboration and neighborly love. Forget about calling in a plumber or hiring contractors. When it comes time to dig a well or set up a rainwater system, everyone rolls up their sleeves and pitches in. It's like one big barn-raising party, but with shovels instead of hammers and a whole lot of friendly chatter about who makes the best apple pie. Picture a Saturday morning in an Amish community. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and a group of neighbors gathers to help a family dig a well. No one's worrying about the latest TikTok trends or binge-worthy Netflix series. Instead, they're exchanging stories, sharing laughter, and probably arguing over the best way to pack a hay wagon. The kids might be off playing nearby, using the occasion to stage an impromptu football match until someone inevitably gets tackled into a pile of hay. It's the kind of communal spirit that would make even the most hardened city dweller a little envious. This collective effort is vital. The Amish understand that water isn't just a resource, it's a community lifeline. When one family has access to clean water, it benefits everyone around them. They don't hoard their resources or try to outdo each other with fancy water systems. Instead, they share their knowledge and tools, ensuring that everyone can enjoy the same refreshing drink. It's like a neighborhood potluck, but with well digging instead of potato salad. You help me, and I'll help you. That's the unwritten rule. And while digging wells or setting up rainwater systems is serious business, that doesn't mean they skip out on the fun. In fact, if you don't lend a hand when your neighbor is working on their water system, you might find yourself on the receiving end of a playful prank. The Amish have a way of keeping things lighthearted. Imagine being the guy who borrowed a cup of sugar last week but forgot to show up to help out with a new rain barrel. Next time you ask for a favor, you might just get a friendly wet willy or a playful dunk in a nearby trough. Just a little reminder of what neighborly kindness looks like. It's also worth noting that this sense of community doesn't just stop at digging and hauling. The Amish are known for their impressive network of resources and expertise. Need help with water purification? There's a guy down the road who's a wizard with sand filters. Want to set up a rainwater harvesting system? Call the family that's been doing it for generations. This spirit of sharing knowledge ensures that everyone is well equipped to manage their water needs. It's like having a community college right in your backyard, but without the tuition fees or the long lectures about the importance of attending class. And let's not forget the benefits of this tight-knit approach. When you work alongside your neighbors, you not only get the task done faster, but you also build stronger relationships. Those bonds become vital during tough times. When crops fail or illness strikes, the community rallies together to support one another. The same spirit that gets everyone out digging wells also means that when the chips are down, they're there for each other, lending a hand, a meal, or just some good old-fashioned companionship. This cooperation doesn't just create strong friendships, it also cultivates a deep sense of independence. While many of us might be dependent on city water systems or utility companies, the Amish take pride in their self-sufficiency. They rely on each other and their surroundings. It's a system where everyone plays a part and the entire community thrives together. When you think about it, there's something beautifully simple about this approach. In a world that often feels chaotic and disconnected, the Amish communities show us how to value human connection and collective effort. They remind us that working together not only makes life easier, but also enriches our experiences. Who would have thought that digging wells could be such a bonding activity? The way the Amish get drinkable water truly reflects their spirit of independence and resourcefulness. These folks have perfected a lifestyle that thrives on self-sufficiency, ensuring that they aren't just relying on city infrastructure or government resources. They've crafted a system that's as old as time yet is full of innovation and collaboration. Watching them work together to dig wells, harvest rainwater, or even tap into natural springs is like witnessing a well-rehearsed dance. Everyone knows their role, and it all comes together beautifully. Think about it. While many of us scramble to find the nearest convenience store for a bottle of water or worry about the next citywide boil alert, The Amish are quietly enjoying the fruits of their labor. Their reliance on methods that have been passed down through generations stands in stark contrast to the complexities of modern life. Who needs bottled water when you can fill your glass with clean, fresh spring water that's been filtered through layers of rock and sand? It's like having nature's best water treatment plan right in your backyard. Their independence is not just about water, it's a way of life. By taking matters into their own hands, the Amish exemplify a profound respect for the environment and the resources available to them. They are mindful stewards of the land, ensuring that their practices don't deplete what nature provides. Imagine if everyone took a page out of their book. Maybe we wouldn't have to worry about plastic waste and overconsumption. There's something delightful about the contrast between our busy lives and the simplicity of Amish water systems. While we may be stuck in traffic, cursing the long lines at the drive-thru, they're enjoying a cold glass of fresh rainwater on their porch, perhaps while watching the cows splash around in the kiddie pool they filled with their last downpour. Picture a group of Amish farmers sharing a laugh as they refill their rain barrels while the rest of us are navigating our smartphone apps to find the best coffee in town. It's important to appreciate their way of life while acknowledging the joy and humor that comes with their traditions. For them, the effort of gathering water is not a burden. It's a community-building activity that fosters relationships and strengthens bonds. When you share a glass of rainwater with your neighbor, you're not just sharing a drink, you're sharing a piece of your life, your stories, and your laughter.